Hello, this is Stephanie Washer, and I'm going to go through Module 1, the impact of digital technology. I'm going to try and get through this first little part with explaining society's reliance on technology so that it's not like a crazy long video. So I'll do one on each section. So we've got, this one will be on explaining society's reliance on technology, then we'll have another one on developing personal uses for technology, and then explaining the role. So this one's going to be kind of a brief history of computers, the impact. We'll talk about IoT, Internet of Things, ATMs, kiosks. So these four are all IoT. IoT at home, IoT in business, ATMs, kiosks, and then IoT in general. And then we'll talk about AI, virtual reality, and the digital divide. So this is just the first part where we kind of talk through everything. Well, in talking about our society's reliance on technology, we go through some terminology. And anything anymore, I would be surprised that you're not touching some sort of technology. I mean, even driving our cars, you're touching technology. So digital literacy is, or also known as computer literacy, is just knowing and understanding computers. So whether it's mobile devices, your computer itself, laptop, Chromebook, web, anything information technology or computer technology related, it's essential to know the basics for your job, for personal use, for contributing to the community. So in this first part, basic terminology, the computer is just an electronic device that has certain instructions that it follows. They're stored in its memory. It gathers data or accepts data, and then it'll process that data to give us information to use. And so data is just the numbers in text, the raw information that we see, or the raw facts that we see. And there's a difference between data and information. So data is the raw facts. Information is after it's processed. So it takes the data, and so the software works with the hardware and then gathers the data to produce meaningful information. So the hardware is anything that you see. The wires, cases, switches, the electronic circuits, that's something that you may not necessarily see, but that one's considered part of the hardware. So it's kind of like the physical almost end of things. The software is the stuff that that just runs in the background. So the operating system runs in the background. The apps are the ones like this, website runs in the foreground, and it works with the hardware and tells the computer to perform certain tasks. And so all three of these together produces meaningful information. The outline of the history, so this is the brief history. So we first started out with vacuum tubes, but they're glass tubes that are controlled, that control the flow of electrons. So we've got the ENIAC, ENIAC, and the UNIVAC are examples of the vacuum tubes. So we've got a nice little picture of it here. Obviously they were giant, they were too big, we couldn't really do much with them, and they created a lot of heat and they wore out pretty quickly. So then the next generation, or the replacement for them, is the transistors, which were smaller, cheaper, more reliable. And then that kind of developed into integrated circuits, which is what we use today. So we've got vacuum tubes or transistors transformed into the silicone chip. And, the size of your thumb is about, what they are. And so IBM and Intel, so Ted Hoff and a team of engineers introduced that microprocessor. And that's the brains of the computer. And it's really kind of the central processing unit, or the central item in it. Sometimes we say central processing unit, sometimes I say CPU. So the microprocessors that they developed were faster, obviously faster, smaller, less expensive. That's exactly what happens with everything. It's faster, smaller, less expensive. And it doesn't feel like that when you're buying processors. The newest one that comes out, yes, they're faster, smaller. In the whole scheme of things, because they're faster and smaller, they are less expensive, but they feel much more expensive, right? So, but because of the technology boost, it's That's kind of how they figure that out. And so we've got microprocessors, sometimes called processors. I say CPU for the processor inside the computer, which there's a whole chapter on hardware that I'll go through and we'll talk about that. So here's a picture of the Apple II. At my house, we had a Commodore 64, I believe, that I used to play Snow Patrol or some old school game on it. So in the 70s and 80s, computers started getting smaller and they wanted to get personal use to gain popularity. So Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak developed Apple. And so it came out with the Apple II, and then there was the Apple IIe. You know, there's all sorts of different versions of the Apple. So Apple really targeted education. And so I remember when I was in grade school or elementary school, we had one. Not one in every classroom, but, you know, there was a classroom with like one or two in it. So it was great to kind of have a little personal computer in there so that we could see it. And then once the Apple got going, then obviously other manufacturers started building them and getting popular. So really the big two were Apple and then IBM. Those are the two big. And as things get better, then you get faster and smaller and less expensive. Now we're going to go on to Internet of Things. And I don't know how many of you have items at home that would be considered IoT, but most everybody probably has something that they can say is an IoT device or a smart device. You know, and I want to say, my husband and I just bought an inexpensive, couple $100 TV. I think it was just a cheap Walmart one, an inexpensive Walmart one. And even that you can connect to the internet. So the TVs are smart devices. You know, obviously we're not really paying for cable anymore. We're streaming everything. If we've got our smartphones, obviously, but the smart IoT controlled devices are items that'll have an app that you can use on your phone to control. Whether it's a thermostat, refrigerator, one of my friends has a crock pot, many different things that you can control. I have in my classroom at Rock Valley, I have a whole bunch of Raspberry Pi devices. You can make any IoT device you want out of it, basically. And we'll talk about Raspberry Pi again later in the hardware section. So basically with IoT, you can connect any device and you can use an app or and connect it to the wireless or the internet and then control it. So you can gather data, control things through that app. And there's different sensors and tags that transmit data back and forth. And one of the huge things right now is big data and data analytics. So anytime you're sharing data, it is a moneymaker thing, right? So big data and data analytics is just a way to process large amounts of information. So any of those sensors is going to send information to the app. It will gather that information or that data and bring out information that you would like. So it'll bring it out in a form that you can see things. And we've got mobile service providers offering a variety of things that, so devices that you can transmit. We have, I have some land and we have a webcam on there that is connected to a cell phone plan, and we only use it like in the fall basically. And the fun fact is that we saw a bobcat on there, so that was kind of cool. But it connects every so often whenever a picture is taken or it's seen different things. So basically those IoT devices, and then I brought up that Raspberry Pi, it's just an embedded computer that functions as one component. So it's like one device that is small, has limited hardware, but it enhances the capability of whatever you have. So a good example is like a printer monitor. So embedded computer within the printer. I have a pretty nice Brother printer, and it's got like basically a little monitor on top of it. It's got a little touch screen, and you can see the ink level. It detects paper jams, if there's no paper in it. So a lot of different things. So computers are everywhere. We use them all over the place. Most of us probably have them that we see in our cars. The tire pressure gauge, those are little monitors on there. Sometimes they're really annoying, the tire pressure gauges, especially this time of year. I've had good luck. I shouldn't like knock on wood. I've had good luck with my truck this year, so I haven't had tire pressure issues or had to worry about it too much. So there's tire pressure, the smartphone app that you can use. I did have one vehicle where I had to use OnStar. I didn't have to use OnStar, but it gave me free OnStar for a year, and I could start it from my classroom at Rock Valley. So I was pretty excited about that because I had a late night class and I could start my car from my classroom instead of trying to find a window and hitting the remote right from there. Then you've got your navigation, there's Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto that you can use with your vehicles as well. So you can have everything set up to work together. The airbag systems, the stability control. I can't remember. There's the newer pickup trucks, or the newer trucks have tons of sensors just on the tailgate. So there's so many sensors, especially my mother-in-law has even her older Acadia has sensors where it can sense the lines on the road and it will start beeping if you go over the lines. So there's so many different sensors. And then what we've discovered is if you have a small little fender bender, then that's a lot of things that you need to replace if you want them to work correctly, right? So the sensors gather that data and send it to whatever app it is connected with. And then when you go, like if it's on your car, you go get it serviced and they know everything. So ATMs and kiosks. I don't know how many people use ATMs that much anymore because everyone, I don't use cash. I just use my card everywhere, right? But there are ATM machines which are kind of like a freestanding kiosk or a freestanding booth that's in a public area for you to use. And so you can go in and put in your bank card and get out money. The thing about kiosks are they're secure, right? So that ATM kiosk is secure, but if somebody's standing behind you, they can get your PIN number pretty easily if they're paying attention. So you want to make sure that's where you get cover your hands whenever you're putting in your PIN number. There are self-service kiosks at the hotels. In fact, I've been traveling a lot for work lately. Hotels, airports, they all have an app. And download that app, sign up for I signed up for every hotel. I try and go to Marriott's because if you use their app, you get free Wi-Fi. So that was big for me. So that app, there's a couple others that, you sign up for the service and you get free Wi-Fi. And then the airport, when you're flying, I've been flying United or Allegiant because Allegiant's out of Rockford. So anytime I can fly, I fly out of Rockford, but there's an app and you can get your ticket through there. So you don't have to go through a kiosk unless you have to. You can use the app for that. So, and then obviously healthcare providers have kiosks as well. So that's this information's a little bit, I'm not going to say it's dated because they're still out there, but now we've really switched over. I want to say the pandemic and the shutdown have kind of switched us over to using more apps on our phone, for sure. IoT at home, I kind of talked about this already. We've got refrigerators, we've got, like I said, it just makes me giggle every time I think of somebody using a wireless crock pot, but it's great. So you've got a crock pot you can connect to your wireless and then manage it from there. So you've got your IoT device, whatever one is enabled, it can help you with daily tasks. So your refrigerator can detect if the milk is low and send information to you so that you need to go make you a grocery list and grab some items. And I use, I was looking at that, but the milk I just buy oat milk, and it's always in a container that you can't tell if it's full or not. But I suppose it could do weighted. That would be interesting. So IoT in business, manufacturers use robotics for just about everything. And so the sensors in that, there's tons of sensors. They can track inventory. You can, in retail, we've got customer coupons that are sent to phones. The Meijer app, I always forget to use it, and it's silly not to. You can actually just shop with the Meijer's app and use the coupons on the fly. And those sensors also can track inventory, and everything just works together seamlessly so that you can check out in the end with the most coupons possible, right? Let's see what else we've got here. And then healthcare. We've got IoT devices. So we've got wearable blood pressure monitor. We've got a glucose monitor. We've got prescription updates that can be sent back and forth. I don't know how many of you use apps for healthcare much, but I think it's, is it Mercy Health now? One of them, St. Anthony? Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which one. My doctor just recently retired, so I've switched over. But there is the My Health app that's really great. My doctor used to use that. She would text me all the time through it, remind me to make appointments. It was great. So obviously my phone is probably full of apps, but that's how I do everything. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that most of you probably already do that too. My high school students all the time are like, Washer, you should get like the Taco Bell app. You should get this app or that just so I can get free food. So they're always telling me like what days are the free food days and that I should do different things. So it's great. And then wearable monitors. I have a Fitbit. I'm really partial because I have an Android phone. So I'm partial to Fitbits, but I just got a new phone because the Pixel 8 came out and they gave a free watch with it. So I got, some money back for my phone, and then I got a free watch. So I now have the Pixel 2 phone. I love it. I actually like it almost more than the Versa Fitbit, but I like to know what's going on with my heart rate, because some days I feel like I'm out of breath, things like that. And I do like to work out, so I want to know what's going on and how many steps I have, and it's just kind of really nice. So I do have that info. And then artificial intelligence. I don't know about you, but I use artificial intelligence a lot lately now, and I'm sure you guys all know which ones. So we've got, we got ChatGPT, right? And not this computer here, but I have a Windows 11 on my laptop. It'll pop up, you can see. I had some questions. So I was just kind of testing things out. I had explained that how that cybersecurity is now integrated into all computers and information systems courses. I had somebody criticize about the security topics that are in what happens to be the CIS 102 course. And so I used ChatGPT to help me out, and it came up with some really great answers. Now, I didn't use it in this form. Just know that if you copy and paste with ChatGPT, your teachers are going to know. And I had a really great conversation with some people that are on the scholarship committees at Rock Valley College. And they laughed and said, we had so many scholarships, applicants for this one scholarship, and 2 for sure used ChatGPT and just copied and pasted, so they knew. Another one, part of ChatGPT is Dolly. I wonder if it's got my... Oh, there it is. So we'll see if it pops up. We were looking for kind of a mascot for our cybersecurity area. So I was in my final exams, waiting for students to finish up. So I create a picture of an eagle as a cybersecurity expert. So this is what it came up with, and I'm like, oh, the suit and tie is great, and but it's a little too dressy for us. So I just typed in cybersecurity eagle, see what came up, and then I put hacker eagle, and then I put it in a hoodie. So then that was better for us. And then I thought, this is too complex because we, you know, if we're going to make it into a t-shirt, we need it to be black and white. So then I just typed in hacker eagle line drawing. And I had been complaining about AI pictures because it wasn't creating what I wanted. And now that I'm kind of learning how to do things, this helps out a lot. So I've been really doing a lot with it. And then, like I was saying about Windows 11, I have Windows 11 on my laptop, but I do the beta version so that I can get Copilot for free. But there's a big thing, let's see, and ChatGPT lawsuit. So there's a big lawsuit. The New York Times is suing OpenAI and Microsoft for using its stories to train their AI. So that's going to be a huge thing now too, is there's going to be some new lawsuits out there for copyright infringement and for all of this different stuff. So AI is huge. I love it. I believe it's fantastic to help you with things. I have a friend that uses ChatGPT. He'll type in whatever it is. So like this is, like if I say, let me see if I can go to the top here. If I say make a 10 question multiple choice quiz on introduction, to AI with answers, and it will pop up. Now, you do have to know that this is GPT 3.5. So 3.5 doesn't have as much, it's not as reliable. And so I have actually GPT-4, so I can switch back in between these two. I wonder if there would be a difference between. And so if I go back here, so I can take and copy and paste these all into like Kahoot, or the other one is Gimkit. So I can copy and paste these in and then use them for Kahoot, Gimkit, a basic quiz. And generally, I just kind of go through and I look at it real quick and see what makes sense and if there's anything blatantly wrong. You can do it for different things. So really, for AI, the big thing is just use it as an assistant just to kind of help you out. And then virtual reality. Virtual reality is super cool. We have at Rock Valley for our department, we have a Quest 2. So we have an Oculus 2. Oculus Quest 2, if I can say it correctly, right? And we have it set up where we can connect it to a monitor so that, you know, we can go to different schools, we can go to different functions, and we can show what's playing on the screen. And so we have, I don't know, just basic games that the students can play. And it's basically just kind of testing it out and seeing what you can do with it. And so virtual reality is just using computers to simulate a real environment within a 3D space. So it appears that it's a 3D, so it can appear as a whole different space to you. And it uses 3D images and different sensory effects, visual and sound, to give you that whole experience. And so it's kind of a gaming environment. And so augmented reality is one type of that, where it uses an image of an actual place and then adds digital information to it. So there's different things with that. And I don't know if anybody's played with an Oculus. The other one that I've played with is HP's. I work with a grant program, and we are still creating a virtual reality program that is a day in the life of a cybersecurity specialist or a cybersecurity person. And to get all of the different items going, they decided they needed the $1,300 system. So anyway, We're trying to get it to work on a less expensive system, but it's really cool to be able to use an AI environment just to test things out and to see how things are going, and just to kind of have fun and play around, right? One of the last topics is the digital divide. So it's the gap between those who have access to technology and its resources information. This digital divide, some people are like, oh, it doesn't really exist. Yeah, it does. It really does exist. I live in an area that, and I think some of you in class too, live in an area where you may not have access to consistent internet. So I have access to internet, but like the other day, my power was out. So did I really have access to internet? And the digital divide is the gap between those who have the technology and those who don't. And so those who have the resources and those who don't. So it could be socioeconomic, it can be geographic. It just depends. So it's really nice. My dad just got Elon Musk's Starlink. That is not cheap. In fact, I'm almost too cheap to get it. I should get it because it's good. One of my friends said, be careful because, you know, hers gets slow too. But my internet is getting pretty slow. That I have Verizon broadband out of Belvedere. And I'm kind of getting tired of them. So everybody's working together to get rid of this digital divide. In Northern Illinois, there was a whole grant project to put in fiber in that goes like down 90, up 39. There's all these main highways. So like 88, 39, 90. I can't remember. There's some loop in there that, so it really does create a nice little loop of fiber that can come in. And we're trying to get more and more grants to get fiber to more and more places. It's expensive. Fiber is expensive. And then now the next section is develop personal uses for technology. So that was the end of that first section. And so I'm going to stop it here, and then we'll have another video that will go into 1.2.